Salams and welcome. Thank you for joining me in another episode of the Quran in English Basics for Beginners. Auzubillahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. We are busy now at section number 2 of Surah Al-Yasin. وَاضْرِبْ لَهُمْ مَثَلًا أَصْحَابَ الْقَرْيَةِ. Set forth to them by way of a parable the story of the companions of the city. Many of the classical commentators have supposed that the city referred to as Antioch, south-central Turkey, or in Syria. Now, I will skip all of this because even in Ma'riful Quran and in Mawla Madudi's tafsir, they say that Antioch is actually not the correct one. So I'm not going to go into all of the details of the debate. It simply says, yeah, I reject the identification with Antioch decisively. Right? So we'll skip all of that. We don't want to get into the debate. We're just keeping it fairly straightforward and simple. The main thing is the lesson we can learn from it. It doesn't matter on the place. The main thing is a lesson, because the lesson applied thousands of years ago and it's also applying today. It applies in every city in the world, every town, and every village. So the importance or the significance of the story is in the lessons to be derived from it as a parable. That is independent of name, time, or place. It doesn't matter where the place, right? So we don't have to worry, is it Antioch or some other place? Is Ja'ahal Mursalun. Behold, there came messengers to you. إذ أرسلنا إليهم اثنين فكذبهما فأخذنا بثالث فقالوا إنا إليكم مرسلون. When we first sent to them two messengers, they rejected them. فَأَخَذْنَا بِثَالِثٍ, but we strengthened them with a third. Allah sends His messengers or teachers of truth at ones and twos. And where the opposition is very great, and when Allah considers it necessary, then He supports them with others. Their mission is divine, but they do not claim to be more than human beings or men. This is used by the unjust and the ungodly as if it were a reproach, whereas it should commend them to man, for mankind is glorified by such commission and by Allah's self-revelation. The message is clearly expressed in human language, but because it exposes all evil, people think it unlucky as it checks their selfishness. On the other hand, it is often the poorest, the humble, and the most despised of mankind, usually from the outskirts of the furthest parts of the city, that accept the message and are willing to work and die for it. The stiff-necked resist and accomplish their own destruction, right? And there's a famous saying that says, like the piety of the farmer or the piety of the poor person. So it is usually the poor person who are more God-conscious and more religious as well. Whereas the people living in the city, they are so involved in business and hub-drub of the city, whereas the ones living in the farms, living in the outskirts, they are more receptive to the message and the truth when it comes, right? وَقَالُوا إِنَّا إِلَيْكُمْ مُرْسَلُونَ. They said, truly, we have been sent on a mission to you. قَالُوا مَا أَنْتُمْ إِلَّا بَشَرٌ مِثْلُنَا. The people said, you are only men like ourselves. وَمَا أَنزَلَ الرَّحْمَنُ مِنْ شَيْءٍ. And Allah, most gracious, sends no sort of revelation. They not only reject the mission of the particular messengers, but they deny the possibility of Allah even sending such a mission. Note how they convict themselves of inconsistency by using Allah's name and attribute called most gracious, even though they may mean it ironically, right? In antum illa takdibun. You do nothing but lie. قالوا ربنا يعلم إنا إليكم لمرسلون. They said, our Lord does know that we have been sent on a mission to you. Just as a messenger whose credentials are doubted can refer to the authority granted by his principal, as the highest proof of his mission, so too these messengers of Allah invoke the authority of Allah in proof of their mission. In effect, what they are saying is the knowledge of Allah is perfect, and He knows that our mission is from Him because He sent us, right? If you do not, it is your own misfortune. We are just coming here to share the truth with you. You can accept it or you can reject it. If you accept it, it's to the benefit of your own soul. If you reject it, you are harming and corrupting your own soul. وَمَا عَلَيْنَا إِلَّا الْبَلَاغُ الْمُبِينُ. And our duty is only to proclaim the clear message, not to force anyone, simply to share the truth, right? Then they proceed to explain what their mission is. It is not to force them, but to convince them, to invite them to the truth. It is to proclaim openly and clearly the laws of Allah which they were breaking, to denounce their sins, and to show them the better path, which is the path of righteousness, the Sirat al-Mustaqim. If they were obstinate and arrogant and obdurate, it was their own loss. If they were rebellious against Allah, the punishment rested with Allah. قَالُوا إِنَّا تَطَّيَّرْنَا بِكُمْ. The people said, for us we augur an evil omen from you. Now, ta'ir means a bird, and usually it means a superstition and an evil bird bringing an omen, right? So, like the Roman augurs, the Arabs had a superstition about deriving omens from birds. From ta'ir, bird, comes tatayyara, to draw evil omens, because the prophets of Allah denounced evil. The evildoers thought that they brought ill luck to them. As a matter of fact, any evil that happened to them was a result of their own deeds, but yet they blamed the messengers of Allah. For example, we see in chapter 7, 131, where the Egyptians ascribed their own calamities to the ill luck brought by Musa to Moses, right? And then we see in chapter 27:47, where the Thamud, instead of blaming themselves, they ascribed ill luck to the preaching of the Prophet Sal'lal'laa'hu. So they're not willing to take personal responsibility for the problems that's coming to them, right? لَإِن لَّمْ تَهُمْ لَنَرْجُمَنَّكُمْ وَلَيَمَسَّنَّكُم مِّنَّا عَذَابٌ عَلِيمٌ. If you desist not, we will certainly stone you, and a grievous punishment indeed will be inflicted on you by us. Join me in the next episode. Let me just see if there's a footnote here. Okay, join me in the next episode. Right, stay well, look after yourself. Alhamdulillah.